Thousands of acres burnt as a fire rages through northwest Oklahoma, the first black woman to be a Supreme Court justice, and an urgent plea to NATO from Ukraine. This is OU Nightly. Hello, thank you for joining us for OU Nightly. I'm Harry Robinson.
And I'm Kaleigh Tingelstad. We begin with those fierce Oklahoma winds that are fanning the flames of wildfires tonight.
An already deadly wildfire season for firefighters now injured another 2 men. OU Nightly meteorologist Colton Williams is live at an Oklahoma forestry office with the story. Colton?
Yeah, Kaylee and Harry, we're live here in Goldsby, Oklahoma, just south of the OU campus area at one of the State Forestry Service regional offices. Now, the State Forestry Service helps coordinate efforts in fighting these huge wildfires. It's the Beaver Fire that's in the Panhandle, that's burning so fast that volunteer firefighters were trapped in it after their truck overturned in the strong winds. Jason Smith and Tyler Morris from Balco, Oklahoma, found their truck surrounded by flames. We're told they were rescued by a state trooper, put in his car, and driven out of the danger zone. Then they were airlifted to a burn center in Lubbock, Texas. That's where they're recovering. Right now, we know this fire continues to burn. Things are so serious that large airliners full of firefighting chemicals are being used to try to get it under control. But Oklahoma forestry firefighters say the wind is making it incredibly difficult.
Problem is resources. When you get out in the western part of the state, it's mainly grasslands. So for us here, we tend to get a little bit of a break on a running fire when it gets into a low-lying area because the wind can't carry it the same as what it would out there. Those guys don't have that luxury.
There's a GoFundMe account set up for Smith and Morris. In just a few hours, it's raised more than $40,000. Friends and family say it will be split evenly to help with their medical bills. And winds are not letting up here in Goldsby, and conditions are even worse out in the Panhandle. Let's hope we get some relief for those firefighters soon. For now, live in Goldsby, Colton Williams, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Colton. We also know there's another fire near Fort Stockton right now, and it is forcing some evacuations in the town.
Let's get a look of how bad the winds are right now. Brady Blackstock is live with the first look at our forecast. Brady?
Kaylee, Harry, these wind gusts are out of control that firefighters are dealing with. Colton down here near Goldsby, Norman showing 37 on the wind gusts, but the big story is out west, Woodward, 44 wind speeds. That's where that the fire you're just talking about was located, but out in the Panhandle, we're looking at wind speeds up to 50 in those gusts. And of course, that is why the western part of the state is under a big fire outlook. And then coming up in Maine weather, the fire danger, storms next week, and when the wind will end.
Thanks, Brady. A historic day in the United States today as the first black woman has been confirmed as the newest member of the United States Supreme Court. OU Nightly's Cameron Joyner is live on campus. Cameron, you talked to some students about this memorable moment. Cameron?
Has many OU students taking notice, and I got the chance to talk to some student government leaders about what this momentous occasion means to them.
On this vote, the yeas are 53, the nays are 47, and this nomination is confirmed.
Nearly 6 weeks after her nomination, the United States Senate voted 53 to 47 to confirm Ketanji Brown Jackson as a Supreme Court justice. Thousands of miles away on the OU campus, students recognize this historic day.
First black Supreme Court justice as a woman. I mean, that has a ring to it, obviously. It's historic for our country.
And how it came about.
Young black women need role models, and we first had Kamala when she moved into the vice president role, and now we have a black woman serving as a Superior Court justice.
Brown will replace retiring Justice Stephen Breyer and will not change the ideological balance of the court. President Joe Biden is making good on a promise that he would nominate a black woman for this role if the opportunity came up. Many students feel that her appointment is an important step forward for our country.
I can only hope that it inspires young black women everywhere and reminds them that they are brilliant individuals.
She understands the obstacles that she's gone through, and that's going to continue to push young women, but not only young women, but young men as well.
Jackson will be sworn in late June or early July. Reporting live, Cameron Joyner, OU Nightly.
Trouble with the turnpike again today as a Norman senator's effort to make a difference are stalled in the capital. OU Nightly's Brooklyn Suite is live in Oklahoma City with the story.
It's not what happened at the Capitol today that has many Norman residents upset. It's what didn't happen at all.
Senator Mary Boren posted on social media that she would be in a committee meeting to introduce an amendment to a House bill that would remove Norman from a list of Oklahoma Turnpike Authority projects. We showed up to that meeting and were surprised not to hear the amendment discussed. As the meeting adjourned, Senator Boren made another post, this time saying she asked Norman Senator Rob Standridge why the bill was laid over. Boren says the bill is being held by Standridge for leverage. We went by Standridge's office to talk to him, but no one was there. Boren suggested that Norman voters with questions contact his office for more information.
So no action today for Norman citizens trying desperately to stop this proposed turnpike, but there is still a sliver of hope that things may change. We'll keep you posted on what's to come. Reporting live, Brooklyn Suite, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Brooklyn. A cry for help in Ukraine coming from the Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba. Kuleba says the more weapons and supplies that Ukraine has, the fewer of its citizens will be killed by Russia. However, he says he knows countries around the world may not step up in time.
Either you help us now, and I'm speaking about days, not weeks, or your help will come too late.
NATO has reported that they will respond to the request from Kuleba and provide what they can to support Ukraine.
And in Washington, D.C. today, more action to support Ukraine as the Senate has voted more sanctions against Russia and its allies. OU Nightly's Jayden Brannon has the story and the rest of today's headlines from around the world. Jayden.
Thanks, Harry. This morning, the Senate has unanimously voted to revoke trade relations with Russia and Belarus. The bill helps to pave the way for higher tariffs on imports from both countries, Russia for invading Ukraine and Belarus for helping Russia. This is followed by another unanimous vote from the Senate to ban all energy imports from Russia to the United States. This bill aims to further penalize the Russian economy following the invasion of Ukraine. Both bills are headed to President Joe Biden's desk for his approval. The Boston Marathon is banning all runners from Russia and its ally Belarus just 2 weeks before the race kicks off. This ban is affecting 63 registered athletes in either the marathon or the 5K. The head of the Boston Athletic Association says they are having to do what they can to show support for those in Ukraine. Russian and Belarusian athletes that are not residents of the two countries are still able to compete but cannot run under their flags. And House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has tested positive for COVID-19. The announcement was made by her spokesperson earlier this morning on Twitter. Pelosi is reportedly not experiencing any symptoms and has received her vaccination and boosters. She'll be quarantining according to the CDC guidelines and has postponed her congressional trip to Asia during the 2-week quarantine period. She has also canceled her weekly press conference that was to take place today. And 4 civilians are headed to space tomorrow for 10 days on the Axiom's first space mission to assist in over 24 scientific experiments. Kaleigh, Harry, back to you.
Thanks, Jayden. Scientists believe they've made a breakthrough in understanding Alzheimer's.
This could lead to developments in the treatment of the disease. Find out all what this could mean coming up.
Plus, could you be breathing in microplastics?
We have all this and more straight ahead on OU Nightly. Confusion over COVID-19 boosters and variants continues as the news about Johnson & Johnson vaccine hits our desk.
Ashley van der Velde has that story and more in today's Health Beat.
Plenty of new COVID-19 updates here today as the FDA extends the Johnson & Johnson vaccine shelf life. And the battle over boosters and emerging variants heightens. Johnson & Johnson's vaccine shelf life extended again, making it good for 11 months rather than the previous 9. And another booster is recommended for the immunocompromised, 12 and older, and those over the age of 50. But questions remain about the future of vaccines as Pfizer and Moderna work on variant-specific shots. The FDA Advisory Committee met yesterday and came away with no solid answers on guidance. And researchers discovered genes that they believe to be linked to Alzheimer's. Of the 75 genes linked to an increased risk in developing the disease, 42 were unknown. The study, published in the journal Nature Genetics, is a culmination of 30 years of research. Genes determine up to 80% of a person's risk for the disease, and scientists hope this discovery will develop treatments and courses of prevention. In a new study, scientists found microplastic particles in the lungs of living people for the first time. Microplastics come from plastic in the environment when it shears into tiny pieces. The plastics have been found in ocean and drinking water, soil, air, and food. Study authors suggest people are inhaling the particles. The health consequences of exposure to microplastics are unknown. And finally, a study from the Colorado School of Public Health finds pregnant women exposed to THC and CBD are more likely to have children who are obese and have high blood sugar. Harry and Kaleigh, back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Ashley. Students at OU know the struggle with parking tickets.
SGA has found a way for those yellow slips to help the OU community.
And Brady, could we see these high winds throughout the weekend?
Oh yeah, throughout the weekend we're going to keep these high winds up. There is going to be a bit of a break heading into the weekend on one of the days. I'll go over all that and more coming up in Maine weather. Welcome back to OU Nightly. My name is Brady Blackstock. Got a live look here of downtown Oklahoma City where we're looking at temperatures 62, but the big story today are these winds coming out of the north, 31 currently. And of course, the low dew point means it is dry out there, which is why we're having such a big fire issue currently across the state. Low 60s going to be heading down as we head into the evening. But of course, the big story out west and in most of the state, in fact, we have a big red flag warning fire danger. That's going to go down after 8 p.m. when the sun goes down. But the unfortunate news is that tomorrow, coming into Friday, it's going to still be a big fire risk out west because those winds are not going away. Of course, they're not going to be as bad as they are right now. Huge wind speeds out of the north, 26 here in Norman, 31, 36 out in the Panhandle. That's why they're having so much trouble getting those fires under control, because also it is super dry out there in the west. We got relative humidities down in the 10. I saw it at the single digits earlier. It's bad out there. But here's what's causing all this. We have this massive cyclone up here in the Great Lakes that's bringing a lot of weather up here in the northeast part of the country, but it's bringing intense wind speeds into Oklahoma. And so this is right now on Thursday. You see the big wind coming in to Oklahoma, but let's go ahead and look into the weekend. Saturday, we're going to get a little reprieve from the wind on Saturday, just a little bit, but then it's going to crank back up for our next weather producer heading into Monday, which is going to be a severe weather outlook on Monday. It's going to go into Tuesday and Wednesday as well, but we're going to look into that a little closer once we get closer to the days. And yeah, so Sunday we're going to move in, and then that's where we're going to get the storms onto Monday. But then looking in for the rest of the week, we are going to get a warm up into the weekend and see those winds. They're going to drop down there on Saturday. Fire weather is going to continue, but then the big story and the rest of the week is the storms on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And that's it. I'll toss it back to you at the desk.
The University of Oklahoma's Undergraduate Student Congress signed a bill on Tuesday that could help members of the OU community not go hungry. OU Nightly's Shannon Ehrhardt shows us how this new program can also help you save a little on parking tickets.
Feeling of seeing these yellow slips on your car, and you guys, you know that it's not a good one. But in fall of 2022, these slips might not be such a bad thing. Parking at OU is a struggle for most, but so is food insecurity.
You know, 1 in 3 OU students, or really 1 in 3 OU community members, is food insecure on campus. And we just celebrated the 5-year anniversary of the OU Food Pantry.
That's where Congressman Crispin South and Representative Michael Williams found a solution to the issue.
You would appeal your parking ticket if it's $50 or below, and then present proof to the Parking Appeals Board that you've donated 80% of the value of your parking ticket to the OU Food Pantry.
Congress passed the bill on Tuesday, where it awaits approval from SGA President Zach LaSalle.
And so this is just a way for not only student government to be able to advocate for, you know, the increased need for food assistance on campus, but it allows students to be able to get that restitution for a positive impact.
LaSalle says he plans to sign the bill at the beginning of next semester. So that means starting for the next school year, you can bring in cash or card and waive 20% of the rest of your ticket. Now, parking might not be such a bad thing after all. Reporting live, Shannon Ehrhardt, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Shannon. And with the Masters today, I thought maybe I should wear my green blazer today, but I didn't want to be too tacky.
Why don't we send it over to our sports expert, Liv Walbeck, to see what she thinks. Liv?
Actually, Kaleigh, I think a green jacket would have been a great touch for today. It's a big day in sports with the 86th Masters starting and opening day for the MLB. Stay tuned. Sports is next. Welcome back to OU Nightly. My name's Liv Walbeck, and it's time for sports. The OU softball team is continuing to take dubs after their recent victory over the University of Tulsa. The ladies head down to Lubbock this weekend for a Big 12 series against Texas Tech. And while we know this is a phenomenal team, head coach Patty Gasso explained that there's more to it than just strong hitters.
We want to show that we're more than just a one-dimensional, we hit home runs and that's all we do. I looked down the lineup and every player had something to do with scoring a run, getting a hit, finding a way on. We had our 5 stolen bases. We just kept putting runners in motion. And
the 86th Masters are underway this weekend with Australian Cameron Smith taking the lead 4 under. But that's not the only name people are talking about. After surviving a horrific car accident and almost losing his leg in February 2021, Tiger Woods is back and aiming for his 6th green jacket. This is Woods' first tournament since the accident and is looking to win his 16th major championship. Following a rough weekend against Texas, the OU baseball team beat Oral Roberts 8-2 on Tuesday at home. They head up to Stillwater for a 3-game Bedlam showdown this weekend. First pitch is Friday at 6 p.m. Currently ranked number 2, the OU women's tennis team has been unstoppable. The ladies took down Texas Tech earlier this week with sister duo Ivana and Carmen Corley clinching the top court doubles point. The Sooners hit the road to face Iowa State on Friday and West Virginia on Sunday. And if you ask me, today is a national holiday because it's opening day for the MLB. After the lockout led many to fear that baseball wouldn't happen this year, fans are excited to be gearing up for the big day to cheer on their favorite teams. Here's a look at the games underway. The Cubs defeated the Brewers 5-4. The Guardians are in KC to play the Royals, and the Pirates and the Cardinals game was delayed due to weather, but they're back in action. The Thunder had a tough loss last night against the Jazz, 137-101. And while they may have had an upset, forward Jaylen Ehrhardt had a stellar game. Carrying the team with 23 points, Ehrhardt had 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 block, and a steal. The NBA play-in tournament begins next week with a 7 and 8 seed and 9 and 10 seed in each conference squaring off against each other. If the playoffs started today, the Cavaliers would host the Nets and the Hawks would host the Hornets. And in the Western Conference, the Timberwolves would host the LA Clippers and the Spurs would take a trip down to New Orleans. And my favorite 7th inning snack is getting a makeover. Cracker Jack is selling a limited edition Cracker Jill series to celebrate women in sports.
Well, it's the kind of thing fans daydream about in their seats, but one lucky fan managed to make that daydream a reality.
Find out how one Norman resident won big from a distance next on OU Nightly.
I'm Adam Dickinson at the OU Nightly Update Desk. An Oklahoma woman has pleaded guilty to attempting to scam over $32 million from a COVID relief fund. Yesterday, Amanda J. Gloria pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit bank fraud and money laundering in partnership with Adam Arena of Little Valley, New York. Harry, Kaleigh, back to you.
Thanks, Adam. A Thunder fan had a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity at the game Tuesday night and won big.
Norman resident Carson Whistler was selected to shoot the half-court shot at halftime for $20,000 and absolutely drained it.
When it went in, like, it didn't feel real. Like, it really didn't feel real. Like, everyone was screaming. You know, I was too, obviously, but, like, still, like, I was still, like, in my head thinking, like, is this really happening? Like, did I actually just make a half-court shot in the NBA?
Whistler says the moment electrified the bench and crowd, which helped him believe that the team could come back. And he will use that money to help out his mom.
And with that, Brady, can you give us one last look on the forecast?
Absolutely, Harry. The big story is still these winds. Here's a look at the current wind speeds coming out of the north still, 25 here in Norman. But the issue is out in the west and in the Panhandle where it's still very dry. So tomorrow we will still have a fire danger in place. But heading into the weekend, we are going to warm up while that fire danger still exists. But then Going into next week, we are going to be looking at some potential severe storms Monday through Wednesday. Back to you.
Well, Kaleigh, it's certainly hotter temperatures that I'm used to. Thanks, Brady.
And thank you for joining us for OU Nightly. And as always, we'll be back tomorrow live at 4:30.
Cheers and good night.